Cool. So thanks for joining us on the webinar today. We're going to focus on one of the easiest ways to promote your business this time of year, and that's with seasonal posts in Edgar. Time of year to really extend your marketing reach and get creative with the types of posts that you're sending out. So we're going to dive right into what we're calling our webinar of "'Tis the Season" and seasonal content in Edgar. Start first by defining what seasonal content is. So seasonal content posts can be either two things. They can be posts that are based on the time of year, so like your summer posts, your winter posts, or they can be more event-based posts. So as in Thanksgiving, 4th of July, think Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's type posts. So at this point, you might be thinking, wait a minute, Edgar recycles my evergreen content, and how is this going to fit into my seasonal posts? So the benefit of having your seasonal posts within Edgar, rather than doing this natively, is that you can reuse them when the season and holidays roll around the next year. So think about when you're promoting and recurring your events, that you can fill some serious hours by forcing yourself to start from scratch with brand new updates every single time when it rolls around. But why would you want to do that when you've already created these for the previous season? One thing to really focus on is that your followers can change a lot over the course of a year. A lot of the ones that you have now, you probably didn't have them the last time that you ran this promotion. So really be confident that this is a great way to handle your seasonal posts. So for those of you who might be a little bit worried that someone will notice that you posted that photo or you posted that blog last season around this time, you want to really make sure you're thinking to yourself about your own consumption habits on social media. Really think you're going to remember that you read a post a year ago. Probably not that often. So we really want you to have the confidence that you're creating quality content for your followers to provide them season after season and still provide that value for your followers when they see the posts. So since Edgar is going to start to free up your time so that you can start creating these types of content, we really want to focus on how and what to create here. So when you're creating new blog posts for seasons or any text-rich type of content, we want you to keep in mind one thing that's tried and true about social media habits of your followers. And that is that not everyone wants to read the entire article. So many times people are going to look at the headlines of an article to find the sections that are most relevant to them. We're creating an article about, say, something as mundane as like a construction business. During all these seasons, one thing you can do to repurpose the blog post that you already have is to include these keywords that are really rich around the season. So having those winter, spring, holiday specific words as the headline of a blog post can really help freshen up that content around these different types of posts throughout the year. Stress yourself out that much about what these different updates have to be. Really stick with what works well and tie that into what's happening around the season. So currently, as we're starting to think about what most people are thinking about right now, it's this idea of the holiday season, the new year, new you concept. This is being talked about so much by everyone right now. And you know what all of this entails. It's the time of year that you really cannot step away without being assaulted by this type of imagery. That's about improving yourself. Things that you like to think about are like weight loss, quitting smoking, having these with your work, your family, stuff like that. So keep in mind how your business can weave in these types of things into your content right now. Some things you want to think about is, you don't see these types of updates and ads in July. No one focuses on losing weight in July, even though that's going to be your beach season. And why this doesn't happen is because it's about everyone talking about the same thing at once. So when you're crafting your posts, you really want your brand to join in what's going on in the group discussion on social media. And this can be a powerful way for you guys to start to join that kind of conversation. So look at what other brands are doing. Look at what your friends and people are focusing on in their own status updates to help inform your brands to be really conversational within these posts. So when you're asking yourself about what brands are talking about and what your friends are posting, you also want to keep in mind what your niche is. So how your updates can start to differ and provide value around this discussion in a really unique way. So other things to always keep in mind when your followers are going to social media is, what are they going there for? It's often to escape, and it's to look for solutions. So you want to start to harness the energy of the season and give them these beautiful photos or a laugh to escape from the stress of their holiday season, or a blog post about how to handle this stress to better promote your product or idea around the discussions that are happening on social media already. You also want to make sure that you're using these types of concepts in a really authentic way. So your posts want to have a really emotional connection with your followers throughout the year, and that's no different during this seasonal content either. Really strongest motivators for your audience, and you're going to be placing these little triggers in their heads when you're starting to produce emotional content. So when they're out and about and they see something that reminds them of a post maybe they saw in their feed, they're going to start to think about your brand when they're out and about. So if you're posting something about how you guys are getting ready for the Christmas season or how you guys are getting ready for a holiday, it's going to really start to spark these things when they're seeing that type of imagery out in the real world, and your brand can start to be on top of their mind. Emotional posts really help keep you on top of mind in someone's mind and really build what we like to call your know, like, and trust factor. You all have heard it before that people like to buy from people rather than people like to buy from businesses. So make sure you're talking about how you as a person are developing your business and really adding value to people's lives. And this goes a long way to make your brand relevant, which is a really powerful marketing tool. And we really don't want you to be afraid of these personal posts and share your own holiday successes and failures. Getting over the fear that people don't care about what you're doing is an important step, but just think about how amazing it is to say, hey, I care about my business enough to show up for you in a really personal way. So now you might be thinking, okay, that's fine. I feel confident about creating value. I feel confident about all of these great posts. But one question, what about my holiday promotions? That's a great question. So you're going to start deciding on how many posts you want to share and have these goals in mind when you're starting to create not only your calendar, but the types of updates. Having these goals in mind makes planning so much easier, and it frees up your time to make fun and shareable content that does well on social media. One promotion-specific strategy that I always like to recommend is if you have something special to offer this time of year, you want to create a sort of type of urgency around that. So you want to let people know that it's coming in a few weeks. You want to get that excitement in their head. You want to get that deadline on the top of their mind. Good idea to do these sort of soft types of content, letting them know something is coming, to really get that attention and to get them thinking about sharing how excited they are about this. So your content, it's kind of like your content equivalent of clearing your throat to catch a room's attention. You don't want to unleash your biggest and best ideas without making sure people are listening. So start to build up that anticipation and that excitement for your followers. So some other things to think about around your promotions this time of year are how you can let your followers know how your product or service is good for a gift. Doing this kind of promotional content is to use specific hashtags that bring in sort of a consistency to your types of posts. Low code or a coupon code for your followers, anything like that. A cool kind of way to tie that in to social media is to use that same code as a hashtag in your posts. Consistency, and it'll keep them top of mind of saying like, oh wow, they're going to give me this great discount, let me go and share this with my followers, really opening up your market to their own followers, which is a great thing to do on social media. So on these promotional posts, you really want to make sure that you're linking to the proper landing pages that has a clear and consistent call to action where people know how to claim their discount and how to purchase your holiday specific products. So for your promotional posts, it's pretty clear how you can create that consistency. And we have all the confidence in the world that you guys have these workflows established. So now when you're focusing on this other type of content, your value added content, this is where you need to remember to take other steps on that landing page that's really consistent and is going to provide a lot of value for your followers. Like to kind of think about is when you're posting around these holiday specific blog posts is your followers are going to click that link and they're going to consume all the great content that you're providing them. But from there, we really want to be able to make sure that we're providing a discreet but really obvious call to action for them to do something once they get to your great content on your blog. So essentially, your blog gives you a place to turn all of these casual and curious fans into a subscriber. And you all know how great and how valuable email marketing is. And this is where you grab the value from that. So take a look at your blog, and when you're looking at it, to ask yourself, is this landing page also giving people a place that they can subscribe, and really start to think about if the product that you're offering them is going to be right for them. So the way we do that here on Edgar as an example, this is our ebook that talks about our own blogging strategy. You'll notice over here on the left that you have to enter your email address to get this ebook and this great content. and to follow up with you with more content that is going to be really relevant now that we know you're interested in blogging and now that we know you're interested in getting our tips. And again, just creates more and more touch points throughout this process that we're able to help provide you with all of this value, take the most advantage of your Edgar account. So if you're really not ready to commit yet, thinking about this place where you're putting the email subscriber on your site is really important. And this strategy really stems from the idea that it takes about 5 touch points in order for someone to trust and connect with a brand enough to buy or subscribe to your product. So giving these touch points along the way in a way that your blog is providing that email subscriber is an awesome and discreet way to do this. All right, cool. So let's switch gears here a little bit and really go into how you set up the seasonal content that you're creating and getting it into your Edgar account. Things first, you all know that Edgar is going to base on a category-based system. And this allows for a nice, robust posting schedule where you're able to get different types of updates throughout the week to your followers, making it look really organic and nice that you're providing them with all of these awesome status updates. Do for your content that is going to be more holiday or more seasonal is you're going to go to the category tab found on the upper navigation bar of your account and click on that. From there, you'll notice that there's an add new category button that you can click to be able to really start to dial in on the seasonal posts by adding seasonal categories. So once you click to add the new category, you're brought to the screen where you can name your category. So from there, you can name it anything that makes sense. Summer posts, holiday posts, Valentine's Day posts, whatever makes sense to you guys. The one important thing that we want to mention here is you're going to want to uncheck that box there that says to include this in a random post. If you do ever place a random time slot on your schedule, no post from these holiday specific categories will ever be pulled into there. Your category is set up. It's time to start loading the content into Edgar. So how you do this is from the upper right corner with the Add New Content button, you're brought to our Composer screen. For a drop-down menu, you'll start selecting which category makes sense for the holiday season. So you'll start loading your statuses updates in now. So, around this time of year, it's great to get started now loading those holiday-specific, those New Year-specific posts into Edgar. But throughout the year, you can also start to identify what times a year are your business is a little bit slower and utilize that time in ways to prep for this busier season and start adding those updates into Edgar now too. So when you're creating your categories, definitely don't be shy about adding a summer one in the wintertime and start to slowly load those up, really setting yourself up for success once summer season does roll around. So once you get all this content into your category, it's stored in your library. Is awesome. It's essentially like a catalog of all of your posts. And since this category here is not going to be on your schedule yet, in your library for as long as you want, and they're not going to be posted until we tell Edgar when to post them. So again, take your time creating these categories and really loading them up with content throughout the whole year now, so that once that season rolls around, you're not scrambling to try to create these posts. So now that the posts are in your library, once the season rolls around, it's time to tell Edgar when to send these updates out. Rolls around, we'll go to your Schedule tab from the upper navigation bar. You'll click on that Schedule tab and you'll go ahead and locate the time slots in your schedule view there that you'd like these posts to start sending out. Those consumption habits, really making sure that you're putting this category at different times a day throughout the week is an awesome strategy to make sure the majority of your followers are still able to get the benefits of your more holiday specific posts. To a time slot that you'd like this to appear, and go ahead and provide Edgar with the details of this. For this, we're going to go ahead and get this category drop-down menu right here and populate it with your holiday or seasonal category. Check off the accounts on the left that you'd like it to go out to. You can always alter the day and time to be anything as specific or as general as you'd like. And click the Save button that you see in the bottom right-hand corner there. Then when the holiday season rolls around, your schedule will just start sending these out where you put those time slots, freeing up your time to then start to do other things around your business that might be a little bit more important than logging into your social media accounts every day to post things, because Edgar's already taking care of that for you. These run throughout the season timeframe. Once that's going to be over, you'll notice that you now need to stop these posts. Super simple to do this. All you need to do is log into your Edgar account, go back to your schedule tab there. From there, you'll locate all of the time slots that you set up that have this category associated with them. Go ahead and click into this time slot and look to the bottom left corner. On the bottom left corner there, you'll notice that there's a delete button. You can click the delete button and this will remove that category specific time slot from your schedule. So as long as that category is nowhere to be found on your schedule, these posts can live in your library for as long as you want, and they're not going to start going out until you do put that category on your schedule for the next season. So this is really the best way to handle your seasonal content. That's more evergreen. That's really great to go out during the whole season. Options that you can use depending upon the nature of your posts in Edgar. Advantage of our use once category. So the use once category is awesome because every account comes with this category and you can select it from the drop-down menu in the composer screen. So this category really does exactly what it sounds like it does in Edgar. It's going to send an update out once and then it's going to retire it. So in setting this up, you can make a use once time slot on your schedule, similar to how we were chatting about, you make those category specific ones. And this is going to work in the same way that your other status updates are going to be sent out in the last in, first out order. So all of the content in use once has been used. Edgar will just skip that time slot until he sees a fresh piece of content that you've added to that category. So you don't have to worry about removing those time slots if you don't have new content. Edgar will just skip the time slot. The other thing you can do with our use once category is you can add a use once post and you can click this little scheduled settings tab that you see right underneath the camera icon there. Edgar's going to hold this post if you go ahead and click that scheduled settings, and you can go ahead and put the day and time when you want this to go out. Edgar will then hold this post out of the rotation until he reaches this day and time. He'll send it to the accounts that you've selected over on the left, and then he'll retire the post. So these posts are really great for your more things that are going to be specifically promoting a webinar or specifically promoting something that's on a specific day that you need it to go out. And you always get to know that when a post is retired from the use once category, it's still going to be in your library, but the box around the update will actually be grayed out rather than white in your library. That content has already been shared, but you still have a record of those awesome status updates that you've crafted along the year. Last thing that you can do within Edgar for your more time-boxed or more seasonal content is take advantage of our expired content feature. So this is a really awesome feature if you have a post in other categories that make sense to maybe post for the next 6 months, but after that, you no longer want them to go out. So when you're adding posts into Edgar, you want to be sure to click on this scheduled settings drop-down menu, similar to what we were just chatting about with that use once category. So from there, the second option you see here is going to be to expire it. You can go ahead and populate that day and time that you want a post to be expired and go ahead and save the post. How this works is it's going to work in the same last in, first out rotating order that Edgar's categories do work with on the schedule. Edgar will start sending this update out until he reaches this date and time that you put in, at which point he'll take it out of the rotation and he won't post it again. So again, awesome way to be able to make sure that a blog post that might not make sense in 6 months from now doesn't go out after that. So between these three options, Edgar is really hoping that we're going to help you out this holiday season and set you up for success. In the chat over here on the left, if you do have any questions about how to set this up in your own account, or you can always email us at support@meetedgar.com. Joining us on our seasonal content webinar. And like I said, don't be shy. We love chatting with our community. So reach out to us at any time. Thanks, guys.